me my theme music.
What's up, Buffs Nation, and welcome into Buffs News Weekly Live. I'm your host, Russ Dornish, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Colorado Buffaloes 2025 football schedule, which was released this morning. A lot of interesting tidbits, and if I'm being honest, we got a pretty good deal when it came to our schedule. Now, we already knew the teams and opponents we would be playing, so that's something completely separate. But as far as the way that the schedule is formatted, I think it is an absolute massive win for the Buffs, the type of schedule they got. They have no back-to-back road games. The bye weeks aren't until the very end of the season, allowing for a lot of play time up front. Both very good things for Colorado. So overall, it looks like a great way to get out of there for the Buffs as far as the schedule goes. So we're going to take a deep dive today into the schedule and not do a too early type of record, but talk about the games, talk about the teams that we'll be playing, and which games we really need to look out for, which are going to be some of the toughest games on the schedule, which games are going to be must wins. And when I say must wins, it's because of our opponent. It's because of the location, when it happens during the season. Games that if we were to somehow end up losing would not bode well to the overall record for the season, because it would signify that the Buffs are just not that good of a team. But we will find out together. Let me jump into the chat, say hello to everybody. How's it going? Eric, what is up? TK, appreciate you dropping by. And Northside dropping in early. So, like we said, Ed Joe already coming in with the 10-2. I love it. Let me know, Joe, what your two losses are. Who do you think our two losses could be? Now, housekeeping as always, if you're watching this right now live or later on, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the like button. It always helps out. Gets the video out to more eyes, the more interaction that you guys do, whether it's the chat, the comments down below afterwards, or just liking and obviously being subscribed really, really helps. What I want you to do is, if you're at home, please, please, please comment down below. Let me know what you think the record is for Colorado. Let me know what you think the hardest games on the schedule will be, and which games are you most looking forward to and why. I would love to interact with you guys down in the comments below. And always, we will be interacting here in the comment chat section as we go through the schedule and talk about what to expect going into the 2025 season. What's up, King John? Appreciate you dropping by. The first look at the 2025 college football schedule is all I see. It's dubs all over. Eric, the Big 12 and your mark know they want and need Colorado in that title game. If you look at the eyes on Colorado last year compared to the other Big 12 teams, Colorado by far had the most eyes and really was able to carry the Big 12 when it came to the TV ratings, when it came obviously to attendance, both in away and home games. So yes, we are the meal ticket for the Big 12. No matter what you want to say, no matter what you think about this team, the facts are there, and the facts are Colorado is must-see TV in the Big 12. Absolutely. What is up, Coach Dre? Appreciate you. TK coming in. I got CU 7-5 right now. They are killing me on Twitter. I get it. I get it. I think that is more of a fan response for you, or not a fan. I think that's more of a realistic response. 7-5, not that terrible of a season. I get that we had 9 wins this past year, and 7-5 would be a drop down. But again, you look at what we lost, you look at what we're gaining, where we're going to be at. I could see it. I do appreciate this comment by Northside. 6-6, I think floor. Ceiling, you have 8-4. Okay, I like I think 6 wins is the easy. We will get 6 wins, which, by the way, one of the early over and under for wins is 6.5. If I'm really smart, I would bet the over on that. If you guys want to right now, I would be smart and start hammering the over on wins for Colorado, because again, Vegas is going a little low on that. And we've always seen that Colorado does overperform when it comes to those numbers. Eric Scott, 11-1. I'm not a fan of the Gunnar White hire either, but we will see. I mean, he's only an assistant offensive line coach. I mean, we've got Gunnar White and George Hegeman doing offensive line stuff. So he's not alone. It's not like he's given the full reign of the position. They're sharing the duties together. So we'll have to see how that ends up. I see a loss in the middle of the season, the 3-game run between BYU, TCU, and Iowa State, and then a loss in one of the last 2 versus Arizona State, Kansas State. I would agree with you on that. My tougher on the schedule before we get into like the real nitty-gritty info, TCU, I am worried about that game again. I know we already beat them, but we're going back to Fort Worth, playing TCU, who has somewhat improved this offseason and are looking better. And then I also agree the Kansas State, especially because the last game of the season in K-State, not going to be easy. I could bet that game, and I did this last year, guys. I said that, when Colorado played Oklahoma State, the Big 12 championship trip would be on the line. I think that's going to be the case again in that K-State game. However, I think it's going to be a case of whoever wins that game is going into the Big 12 championship game. So that is why I think that's going to be an absolutely must-win, massive game. 11-1 is crazy, but I respect it. I get it too. I don't know if I'm going to put them at 11-1. I see 2 or 3 losses on this schedule, if I'm being honest, just up top. I don't understand people's hate on Gunnar White announcement, because I know people are always expecting a big name, but why doubt Deion? I absolutely get it. Russ, since you live in Montana and live nearby, do you see Wyoming giving Colorado a game? I have not looked into Wyoming's team that much. That's one of those games that we have to win, and we have to win by a good margin. It cannot be a close game. Wyoming is not the same team that North Dakota State was. North Dakota State, much better team than Wyoming. CSU and Wyoming, you look at how they play each other. CSU might have been the harder game. So really, when it comes down to it, could they? Absolutely. Should they? Absolutely not. If we have trouble winning the game against Wyoming, this is going to be a long season. It's going to be a very long season, guys. Very long. We get at least 8 wins. I like your thinking, Viral Authority. You're not watching the games. Colorado 2-touchdown favorite over Wyoming. That would make sense to me. What's going on with Matt being a part of O-line staff? I don't know. He hasn't given any updates. Again, my guess is the problem is a couple things. We are not going to hear very many actual official announcements about the coaching staff, guys. We are still in the winter workouts, okay? So until spring starts, we won't know fully who's where and who's doing what. For instance, the Marshall Faulk hire. That one is not going to be like an official announcement by the team. What most likely will happen is come spring practices, he will just be there. Okay? Same with anybody else who's helping out. Now, as far as what Matt's role is, there is a lot of red tape that they would have to do for him to be a part of the program. He said, I don't want to leave behind my job. I don't want to leave behind my gym, all of that stuff. That right there, there's a lot of red tape that would have to go into allowing him to do that when it comes to the NCAA. So what his role is, what his position is, all I know is the team definitely wants Matt in the fold as far as being much more connected, especially when it comes to recruiting and training. Okay? So if they could use him as an outside hire, a contract hire, similar to like what they do with the Marines, bringing them in for workouts, maybe that's something that he does with the linemen once the practices actually start. Maybe, he's just going to do some extra things with recruiting. Who knows? We won't know for a while, guys. Okay. The news is going to be slow right now because we're just in workouts. And until spring practice actually starts next month, not a lot of things are going to be coming to light. Okay. Keith, appreciate you with the super chat $4.99. Another 9-3 season. I like where your head's at. I actually am going to be probably close to that. I did 9-3 last year, by the way, last spring, several times during the offseason, as far as what I thought that the team would do. Sure enough, that's exactly what they did. Could I see that again? Absolutely. I do see 2 to 3 losses on the schedule pretty easily on there. Now, can they obviously overperform and do better? Yes. Can they underperform? Yes. We are so early. That is why we're just kind of looking at it generally based on the additions, subtractions of each team that we play, which we're going to dive into here momentarily. Appreciate you, Keith. Thank you so much for the super chat. If CU comes out struggling with Georgia Tech, it's going to be a long season. Don't give a damn. I don't think so. Georgia Tech is a lot better than people want to give credit for. They lost a lot defensively. They did not lose a lot offensively. They lost their top receiver. They replaced him with a very good receiver. So in all honesty, they're returning their quarterback. They're returning their starting running back. There is a lot coming back from Georgia Tech. And this is a Georgia Tech team, by the way, that beat Miami and almost beat Georgia. So I'm not going to say that us being in a close battle with Georgia Tech means that we're going to struggle. The Wyoming game, the Delaware game, those should be blowouts if we are going to have a good season. I would say your comment of it's going to be a long season. If Wyoming and Delaware are struggles, then yes, it's going to be a long season. That's what we've got to look for. Give the respect to Georgia Tech. Facts, Cam, them same people that said when Prime hired the DC and how that worked out, pump your all brakes, trust Prime. Exactly. When it comes to Gunnar White, whoever's going to be in different positions, let the process play out, guys. Let it play out. Y'all deflecting with the DC hire. We had 3 O-line coaches. Now all have been garbage. Let's be real. Yeah, now we have a couple O-line coaches. So rather than give the job to just one person, they're bringing in multiple people, which did work last year with the defensive line. Just saying. Just saying. Georgia Tech's a nice team with a good, experienced quarterback. TK, this isn't fandom, it's facts. Gunner's been with Prime since JSU, has shown what he can do. Have you been at practice? No, so let them coach and we'll see. That's what I'm saying. Georgia Tech is going to play smash mouth football. Yes, they are. It's going to be a challenge for our defensive line. It's going to test them to see where we are at for sure. What do you have to do with Gunnar? He wasn't leading the room, so this guy can coach and deserves the chance. Oregon struggled against Idaho at the beginning, so early season struggles don't mean anything. Cam, I agree. I think it depends on how they struggle. I really do. You look at last year, early season for us, where we struggled. North Dakota State ended up being a very, very good team. Okay, so I don't call that struggling. The Nebraska game was probably one of our worst, and if anything, that showed our problems, and we never fixed those problems, even the rest of the year. So while it was an early season game and we got woken up a little bit, it still was able to expose our weaknesses. So again, it just depends. It all depends on the team and what ends up happening in those games. Because scores, stats, those things don't matter. The eyeballs are going to win out. And we will have to see, is the offensive line struggling still? Are our quarterbacks figured out? Do they look pretty good early season? Those are going to be things we're going to have to look for in that early schedule. Wyoming has beat Texas Tech. We got to respect them. They're not a terrible team. Oh, no, they're not. The thing about Wyoming is, and I've been to a couple Wyoming games and know that team pretty well, they are going to be a physical power football team. Okay, they are going to challenge the trenches. What I like about that game is it is going to be an early season challenge for our defensive line and our offensive line. Now, the Georgia Tech game, Georgia Tech lost a ton on the defensive line, guys, a ton to both the portal and eligibility. They brought in a couple, but they did not really replace their defensive line like they should have. Okay. So Georgia Tech is probably not going to have as good of a defensive line as Wyoming will. Okay. As Houston will. Okay. The rest of it, Georgia Tech offense looks good. The rest of their team is going to be pretty darn good. It's going to be not a blowout necessarily. If it's a blowout, then we're going to have a good season, guys. That's just a fact. But that's something we're going to have to look out for when it comes to these games. Need at least 3 touchdown win over Delaware. Agreed. People probably don't know where is a college team in Delaware. We're going blue hen hunting. I would agree with that. Another 30 sack year. I will put that money on it. I would agree on that, TK. I think we honestly, as bad as it sounds, I think we have a more deep defensive line room than even last year. I do. Torian Carter coming back is going to be huge. Another year for Amari McNeil. Jaheim Otis is going to have a big year. The rookies we brought in, guys, London Merritt and McPherson are looking really good in workouts, guys. They already have the body styles of a college football player. So unlike what happened with Brandon Davis Swain, where he redshirted and had to wait a year to kind of develop, which again, I think he can be a player on the team this year. I don't think that's the case for London Merritt and McPherson. I think both of those guys are going to be a part of the rotation. They're going to be a part of the game, and they could potentially be some kind of blowout, standout players that we don't really think are going to have a big impact that end up having a massive impact on this team. 100%. I would book that. I like how Coach Swayze developing these guys in a short time span. Can't wait for the summer workouts. Nebraska exposed CU's issues in the trenches. Dang, not 30 sacks. I mean, yes, sir, respect that, no problem. Just want people to give them a chance. Book it to 30 sacks. I would agree with that as well. We are loving what Swayze's doing. No, because I want to see what other negatives, BS, you want to say so I can debunk it. You guys are having fun in the comments already today. Oh, that's so funny. Not sold on Jaheim Otis, says East Coast Kev. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. He is putting in the work, though, right now. Guys, he is putting in the work, and he is strong. I'm gonna say I'm excited for it. Russ, I think TK is talking about the O-line giving up over 30 sacks. Okay, gotcha. If we're talking about that on how many sacks we give up, I mean, we'll see. The good news is, and here's why I think the sacks will go down. I think we will be more of a running football team, and a running football team will allow the quarterbacks to have more time. That's just where I'm at with that. Gibson is so small. I don't see him doing much in the beginning of the season, at least. We'll see. I think he could be used sparingly in special packages. And again, he's such a playmaker. He's going to surprise some teams. So Northside says TCU, Utah, West Virginia, ASU losses. I could see some of those. We're going to talk about it because there are some tough ones in there for sure. I don't know about Utah. Utah is struggling, guys. Utah is struggling building their roster, getting that all together. I don't think they're going to be as big of a problem as they were 2 years ago. They'll probably be like this year, and we beat them. Let's see. The O-line is holding the team back. I just need somebody with experience coaching. That's all. We trying to win a natty. Totally get that. Let's see what happens here in the next couple months, though. Yeah. Cam is playing 21, 22-year-old grown men now. They will have to show me they're a running football team before I believe that. Of course, until we actually know. But I'm just saying, I hope that's the case. That's the only way we're going to be successful. If we don't run the ball and we do what we did last year, we are not going to have a good time, especially when you have Caden Salter at quarterback or Julian Lewis. That is setting both of them up for failure. Ali, 12-0, he believes. Let's see. I just like the route because TC, Otis, Lightfoot, McNeil, David Swain, Barnes. Yeah, there's a lot of people there. Yeah, Caden Salter is more of a mobile quarterback than Sanders, so sacks will be lower because he will run if he is pressured. Yeah, rather than scramble around like Shador did, he's going to put his head down and run. So a little bit less on the big plays, a little bit more on the scrambling. Plus, we're probably going to see some more designed quarterback runs. With more quarterback runs and just handing off the ball more, it's going to be a lot harder to pin their ears back and rush the passer like they did this past year. I want to see over 100 yards a game. If not, it's going to be a long season. Agreed. I want to see us average close to 100 yards rushing a game. I would love that Guys, I would love that. That would mean I'll say it right now. I'm going to go ahead and say it. You guys can mark me down for this. I've been marked down before on other things. If we can average 100 yards rushing, we will be in the Big 12 championship. You will book that right now. If we can average 100 yards rushing, we will be in the Big 12 championship guaranteed. Guaranteed. CU bust out players, Cam Michael, Sammy O, Makari Vickers. Big seasons from these three. Joe Kidd, I like that. I like that from all three. I really do. Caden Salter, take checkdowns more than Shador. Sacks not going to be a problem this year. I do think we're going to be at less sacks than we were last season, guys. We can only show people now. Not sold on Omarion as wide receiver one. He can't stay awake in meetings. Hey, if that happens, he's not a wide receiver one. We've got guys. We've got competitors. We have got competition in that room. Okay? We don't need Omarion to be the best receiver to be the best team. Now, if he is, that's going to improve our chances and make things a lot better. I hope he starts figuring things out, but I can tell he is, guys. He listens. He's going to figure it out. He's going to be just fine. He really is going to be just fine. What are you watching? Are you in meetings with him? What are we got going on, guys? Shador for sure is responsible for half the sacks, but that O-line has got to get better with pass coverage and run blocking. Of course, they do. It was better than the year before. So improvements. Can we get another year of improvements? I think we'll be in good shape. We'll be in good shape. Appreciate you, Coach Dre. Yeah, hit that like as your guys are in here. 130 people, roughly. Light show, because again, we don't have a ton of info, but I want to go through the schedule. So let's get that going. Okay, let's get that going. I'll wait until the pads before I'm sold on that trench play. Hey, I get that too. We need to see them in pads. We need to see them in pads 100%. Okay, so real quick, let's take a look at the schedule, and then we're going to dive into the teams on our schedule. So, as you can see here, the schedule starts off 3 straight home games. Georgia Tech. Oh, sorry, no. I hate how it depends on which graphic you look at, which way it goes. Sorry, 2 straight home games. Then we go on the road. Then we got 2 straight home games. Road, home, road, home, road, home, road. We do not have 2 road games in a row the entire season. And our front half of the season is weighted to home. And then the rest of the year, we're going back and forth, home and away, home and away. Love that for the Buffs. On top of that, our bye week is going to be after the Iowa State game before Utah. And then we've got our other bye week, it looks like, between West Virginia and Arizona State. I like it. I like what I'm seeing, guys. I really, really do. Now, here's the tough parts of the schedule right now. I'm telling you, okay? Going on the road to Fort Worth again. I know we beat them 2 years ago at TCU. That's going to be an interesting matchup at TCU. Here's one that we can't sleep on. Going to West Virginia. West Virginia is not easy to play in West Virginia. We'll see what type of team they are. They did lose a ton, and they have not been adding players like they have in the past. We'll talk about that in a moment. That's going to be a tough game. Obviously, the home game against Arizona State. If Arizona State can continue doing what they did last year, it's not going to be an easy game. And then that last game against K-State. That is going to be the biggest game of the entire season. If things go the way they're supposed to be, that game is to decide who goes to the Big 12 championship. That game is going to be in Kansas. Not easy. Not easy. I would feel a lot better if we were in Boulder again, but going to Kansas to play that game. Now, some people might say, oh, the BYU game is going to be difficult. BYU is not doing well in recruiting, guys. They are not doing well in recruiting. We'll have to see what type of team they are in those first couple of games to determine just how much did they lose and how much do they still have on that roster. Something to think about, something to look at as we go through. But we're going to look at this, guys. We're going to look at this. I'm going to show you guys some of the recruiting rankings, what they've been adding, what they've been losing, just to give you an idea. I did look into, for instance, Georgia Tech. They lost a ton on the defensive side. Offensively, they're bringing back most of their offense. And their number one receiver that they lost in the transfer portal, they replaced with Eric Rivers. Will they be the same type of receiver? We don't know yet. Obviously, there are always question marks of if they're going to come in and do what they did at their previous school, leading the way at FIU. We'll have to see. But Georgia Tech, not a slouch. but that is something to pay attention to as far as what they've been adding and using. Okay, let's see what you guys have to say so far with this. Let's see. TK, we good? They've already spoke to Omarion Miller, but Cam, JoJo, Timmons, Miller, Q6, Farrakhan, Mathis, Wilson, we're good. No problems there. Yeah, wide receiver is not going to be the problem. Half of the rushing will come from Salter. Hey, if Salter can average 50 yards a game, we're going to hit that 100 yards easily. Swain doesn't look in shape, Northside says. We'll have to see. Russ, do you see the extension finalized before the start of the season? I want to believe so. Eric, I see it before spring. I could even see it at the latest the spring game. Imagine if they do the extension with the spring game weekend. I mean, there's some eyeballs you can get there. They have to use it for sure. Salter with scrambling ability will cover up. Yep, absolutely. ASU lost their best player in Scadaboo. That is true. That is true. Do they have a running back that can come in and at least be effective like he was? We will have to see. That is a huge loss for them. Absolutely. BYU normally doesn't do good. They have 25-year-old men coming back from missions. Correct. I know that. I said that last year, and a bunch of people gave me so much crap for it. And yet I pulled up their best players from the game against us, and all of them were those 25-year-old, 2-year mission players. Starting wideouts. Okay, here's what Joe's got. Joe Williams, Dre Miller, Cam Michael, and Omarion Miller. I do like that. I do. We are going to use a lot more 3 wide receiver sets now that we have tight ends, so that those 4 will take the bulk of the work. I could absolutely see that. I really, really could. I think the freshmen will need a little bit of time to transition, a little bit of time to get right. Okay, similar to what Omarion did, similar to what Cam did. Maybe get a little bit of play like Draylon did at times. But I do like that. East Coast, I would agree with this. And here's the thing. I want Pat Shermer to go back to his system. I want him to scrap whatever he's using at CU, and I want him to go back to his NFL system. Bring back your NFL system and put it in place. I did see that north side. It's okay. We can move McPherson inside. Got Hudson as well. So we're good as well, but coach going to get them right, I believe. Well, Swayze's going to get them right. That's for sure. You're not going to be out of shape by the time spring is over. That's for sure. Omarion and Cam can't bend their knees, so we don't know if they'll be ready before week 1. Just hope for the best. I think they'll be fine, guys. Watch spring. If your quarterback is leading the team in rushing, that's not a good sign. We never said they're going to lead the team. I just think I would say he's going to average at least 50. You got to also realize that Caden Salter is a 1,000-yard rusher. When was the last time Colorado had a 1,000-yard rusher? Caden Salter is a 1,000-yard rusher. Just saying. Need more experienced corners. Either Hood, McKinney, or Hodge go down. We could be in trouble. Okay, here's what we got. Those are our starters. Absolutely. As far as what we have behind them, we're a little running light there. But I think we have some guys that could fill in. Obviously, yeah. Season-ending injury to 2 of those guys, and we're in big trouble. I do get that 100%. Northside, K-State is only going to win 6 games this year. Okay, so you think without them losing their running back, they're gonna drop that far back? Another year of their quarterback, Avery Johnson. I don't know. What's up, buddy? Appreciate you dropping in. If I see 4 wide week 1, I'm going to crash out. You're going to see it at some point. Now, I think what you really mean is if I see it that whole game, I'll crash out after that game and I'm done for the year. The conference is going to be run heavy because the quarterback play is not anything exciting. I agree. I think we have probably the best quarterback in the conference, potentially. I do. Football fanatic. No, we got Vickers, Bezo, Branch, Murphy. We've got a lot. You've got 7-0 before the bye week. I could see that. I really could. Those are all winnable games. I think the back half of the schedule is the toughest part, like I said. TCU's the hardest one, I think, up front. Georgia Tech also difficult. West Virginia, Utah, ASU, K-State, those are going to be tough games. Those are going to be the tough games. I would agree with that. K-State's schedule is absolutely brutal. Haven't looked at their schedule all the way through, but my guess is you're probably right. Big 12 quarterback play is going to be so mediocre this year. Agreed, which is why I think, again, we're going to have the best quarterback. Now, let's take a look at something real quick. I want to take a look at the rankings for the recruits. Okay. So here is the 24/7 recruit rankings for Colorado. This includes transfer and portal and high school. We are the number one team in the Big 12 per 24/7. Okay. By the way, we go to on 3. Guess what? Transfer class, we're not doing so hot. But overall ranking, we are number 2. Okay. We are number 2 for overall ranking. TCU ahead of us. They've got a ton of 3 stars. They're really ahead of us based on numbers, not on skill. Okay. 6 4-stars, 7 5-star or 4 stars for us. Okay. So, I mean, you look at the average NIL, we're at 119. They're at only 34. So that's something to look at here. But I want to look at the 24/7 and look at who we play. Okay. Texas Tech is coming up big in every ranking that I see. Guess what? We don't play them this year. Okay. UCF also coming up big in a lot of the rankings, adding a lot of players to their roster. Again, we don't play them. TCU, Utah, we play. Kansas, we don't. Arizona State, we play. Arizona, Houston, we don't play Baylor. We don't play Cincy. There's K-State. BYU and Iowa State and West Virginia are at the bottom of every ranking that I've seen. They are not really adding players. They are losing a lot. It's just not the case. If we look at just what is coming in and out, you can see Texas Tech number 1, 10 4-stars in, only 1 4-star out, 7 3-stars in, 14 3-stars out. Then you got Houston. They're pretty much a wash. Pretty much a wash on what they've brought in. Kansas, ton of 3-stars. Baylor, complete wash. 12 in, 12 out. Kansas State, 13 in, 15 out. Okay. Cincinnati, 12 in, 12 out, 1 4-star. UCF, again, we don't play them. 24 in, 19 out, 2 in, 1 out. Colorado, though, you look at where we're at, and we're going to be different, guys. 1 4-star in, no 4-stars out. 3 stars, 16 in, 20 out, and we're not done. Okay, it's obvious that we're going to be adding a lot more. So that is going to go up greatly. You scroll all the way down to the bottom, you got West Virginia. They added 25, lost 19, but they lost a lot of talented players. 3 4-stars. TCU lost 12 3-stars, only 8 added. Arizona, again, lots of turnover. Why does nobody talk about Arizona when it comes to the portal and turnover? Oklahoma State, same thing. Iowa State, not really adding any talent. They're coming back with most of the same team. Not really adding much. And then, like I said, BYU, again, only 8 in, 13 out, and nothing in the 4 5-star category. Okay, that's something to look at when we talk about that. As far as the rankings, including high school, us and Texas Tech are the only one with a 5-star. 24/7 does have us with a 5-star. So that's what we're looking at right there. But we're a good 10 points ahead of Texas Tech in the overall rankings on 24/7. Something to look at as far as what the teams that we're going to be playing look at. So again, when you look at that, when you look at the schedule, you can see why I say TCU in all the rankings is pretty high. They've improved. Going to Fort Worth, that's not going to be an easy game. Okay. Utah, they're Utah. Okay. 5 4-stars, 21 3-stars. The problem with that game is the fact that we have to go to Utah. That's not helping that game. Okay. West Virginia, like I said, the hard part for that one is just having to go to West Virginia. You're going all the way to the East Coast. You're most likely playing an earlier game, maybe a night game, who knows? And going to West Virginia, not going to be easy. Of course, the big ones are then going to be ASU, but K-State, that's going to be, I think, the toughest game on the schedule. I really do think that, guys. I think that's what we're going to have as far as, the schedule goes. Georgia Tech will be a true test. If we get through them, we might have a good season. I got us going 6-1, 7-0 before the bye. Coach Dre, 6-1, 7-0 revenge tour for BYU. He's no football fanatic. Salter has a better chance than him for real. Georgia Tech and BYU are the games I'm looking at in those first 7. I would agree. Those are the toughest in the first 7. In the first 7, like I said, I wouldn't put it past TCU. They've gotten better, guys. They've got better. BYU is really good, having players ready to play. Iowa State do the same. Yes. Let's see. Caden Salter is going to be our most accurate quarterback, 75-25 ball. Russ, can you get the players ready to play day one? Absolutely. That's what Swayze is there for now. That's what our coaching staff is there for. If we do, in fact, have Marshall Faulk as the running backs coach, if we have Warren Sapp there, are they able to prep these guys for week one? Is the quarterback room able to prep for week one? Can Pat Shurmur get the quarterback room ready to go? Those are the big questions that we will have to see as we go. TCU plays a lot of high up-tempo offense. Defensively, they are trash. Night game at West Virginia going to be a loss. It's not going to be easy. Going at night to West Virginia, not good. That's how they beat Florida State last year, first game, because of how physical their trenches are. Plus 1,600 odds to win the Big 12. Hey, go hit that. I would hit that. I'll put $50 to $100 down. Next time I'm in a state that I can actually bet in, maybe I'll throw that down. Bucket, that's not the same. FSU was a bad last season as well. That's true as well. Houston, BYU, Utah, Arizona State, and K-State. CB says those are going to be, are those losses or those games to watch? Gotcha. Those CU linebackers are going to have to stop Haynes King in that run game from Georgia Tech. Not easy to stop, but the game is in Boulder. Exactly. That's what I said. If this was next year and we were going to Georgia Tech, I'd be a little more worried. I would actually think that could be a loss. I would probably pencil it in as a loss. I'm penciling it in as a close win because it's not going to be easy, but it's in Boulder. Agreed with that. Very much so. Agree with that. Okay. So when we look at that schedule, I mean, just to throw it off the top of my head, again, throw it in the chat. Tell me your overall schedule. What is your floor? What is your ceiling? Okay. My floor officially is going to be 7-5, right? Yes, 7-5. And my ceiling is going to be, I'm going to say 10-2 Big 12. 10-2 Big 12 championship game. We obviously saw that 9 wins was not good enough to get in the Big 12 championship game. If we get to 10, I think we're in. I think that's a good season. That is a great season for Colorado if we get to 10 wins and are in the Big 12 championship. 7 wins, I think, is the basement. It depends on how the young players play. It depends on our quarterback. I honestly, if we play Julian Lewis, I think 7 wins would be a good season. It would tell us we're developing him. It would tell us he's playing. He has some struggles. They don't do exactly what they need, but he's ready to go next year and be a much more impactful player. If Caden Salter's the quarterback, I think you're going to see potentially more wins, but you might also slow down the development of Julian Lewis. You have to play to develop. I don't care what people say about this whole sit behind somebody and you'll develop. You will develop better if you can actually play the game and play it decently. That's where I'm at with that. Let's see what you guys got. Being physical, won Ohio State national championship. Quote Swayze got us on the right path. The floor 5. If we beat Tech and BYU, maybe on our way. I think bowl game needs to be at least the floor. Bowl game needs to be the floor. Utah have Texas State OC. They could surprise us with an explosive offense. Okay, Coach Dre coming in, floor 8-4 and upside 10-2 Big 12 champs. So we're pretty close there, Coach Dre. I would agree with you on that. Prime plays players who are ready. If Julian is ready, he will play. Exactly. That's what I've been saying this whole time. A lot of people have automatically said Caden Salter's going to play. I think he has a very good chance to, but the best player is going to play. The best player is going to play. We'll have to see what happens this spring. Buying a $20 million roster won Ohio State a natty. There's a lot that won them a natty. We'll say that. A lot of things needed to go their way too. A lot of things needed to go their way. Okay, outside of that and what we have going on, obviously we got to keep an eye on our transfers portal, more high school recruiting. We just entered a dead period, by the way, for high school recruiting. But when we come out of this dead period, that is when visits are going to pick up. That's something you're going to need to keep an eye on. We're going to be very, very active, as we already have been when it comes to offers. Coaches have been visiting a lot. We're going to have to see what happens. It's K Salt, though. People don't realize how good he is, especially with the weapons we have and the weapons he is. And that's where I think we could see the competition slide one way or the other. Caden Salter has not had the type of weapons that he will have at Colorado. So the question is, can he be the guy that he was 2 years ago? Or was the guy he was last year with lesser talent, was that actually who he was? We don't know yet. We will find out. The fact that he had the year he did 2 years ago tells me he has it in him. Can he do that again here at Colorado? That's going to be huge. Russ, why is Brian Urlacher still in the portal? Thought he was a good player. Who are we talking about? Oh, Trevor Woods. Unfortunately, I think Trevor Woods' time in college football is over. We need Hayes Kent on a visit, please. I also want to get Tyler Atkinson on a visit. We have a chance to get a 5-star linebacker and a 5-star defensive back player this cycle around. If we can get 2 5-stars, this needs to be the year we get 2 5-stars, guys. It needs to be the year we get 2 5-stars. I need to see it. Really, really do. Salter's biggest weapon is his legs and that wide receiver room. 100% agree with that. 100%. Great comment there. That is going to be what wins him this battle. If he can make those things work, he's going to be the starting quarterback. If Julian Lewis makes his arm just work and his talent and his just overall mind, then Julius Lewis has a chance to win the quarterback battle. Something we'll have to see. Minnesota starting offensive tackle just hit the portal. Any offensive tackle that hits the portal, I'm going to be looking at it deeply. TK, tell me his name and I'll pull up his stuff. Tell me his name and I'll pull up his stuff to see if he's somebody that we'd actually want to be interested in. Let me know. Happy to search for that. Arrington kid might be sold on Oregon and that money they will drop. Yeah, he might. He also just spent an entire afternoon on the phone with Coach Prime. We'll see. Yes, they paid $20 million, but they paid players to stay, and the freshmen just got a couple of transfers. That's what people miss, that Ohio State has the same team, just a few new guys. There you go, guys. Martez Lewis. Okay, let me pull him up, guys. There it is. Tackle from Minnesota, number 71. Here you guys go. Let's see what he did. Are you sure he's the starting tackle? He might have been last year. He did not start this year, guys. They have him as a tackle. So PFF has him as a tackle. Yeah, not the greatest, guys. 60s. I mean, it's average. Plus, he didn't start very much. And he didn't even play very much. His best game was against Virginia Tech. That does look good. In the bowl game, was against Virginia Tech. Last season was his best. Was better as far as he played a lot more. But he's not looking the greatest, guys. It shows he only had 162 snaps in 2024. What am I missing? What am I missing? Is this the right guy? I read it wrong. Started in 23, played all 13 this year. It's played all. I only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. Yeah, I only see 5 games, 162 snaps. 617 last year. Not a lot of snaps, guys. 6'7", 335 tackle. Yeah, I've got the right stat. Huh. Oh, Pete Nakos might be wrong. I count 4 games plus the bowl game. 4 games plus the bowl game. Oh, yikes. Yeah, he didn't play. He started, it looks like, week 1 and 2 and lost the starting job somehow. But that 38 pass block will do it to you against North Carolina. Yikes. Not sure that's one that we want to target, guys. Yeah, I mean, depth piece, sure. But I don't think that's one we want. Let me take a look. I want to see what's even in the transfer portal right now. Is there anything even left? NCAA transfer portal. I love the comment, TK. That's Tyler Brown level. Woo. Yep, Martez Lewis. They have him as inside O-line on 3. He just entered the portal. Look, Ole Miss. Am I looking at Ole Miss? What? Ole Miss. Jeez. What did I do? Oh, was it signing day? Is it because they actually officially signed? Oh, gosh. Let's go. Let's see. We want we want status? No. I don't want any of these. I want them not with a team. Yeah. I don't think Portal going to have the guys we want. It's going to be developmental guys. Well off video just dropped. Okay. Make sure you're liking, and then you guys hit into the video after we get off here. But agreed. 30 pass block. I still love that comment. He's big, but looks like he can't block at all. Agreed. Okay, tomorrow's signing day officially. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, there's nothing really on our target. We signed all our high school guys. Okay. Outside of that, guys, that's all I have for you today. Appreciate you guys dropping by. The few of you, light crowd on this. What is it? Is it Tuesday? We'll have more for you guys here in the future. Of course, we're going to be looking at a bunch of different things going forward, but we'll have to see what happens with the second portal and as practice and workouts continue. We'll see if there's any more breaking news, and of course, we'll cover it here, right here on Buffs News Weekly Live. So appreciate you guys joining in. Hit the like, subscribe on your way out. Thank you guys so much. I'm Russ Dornish. As always, Go Buffs.